Hello YouTube, this is Froogle, Happy New Year and welcome to episode 1 of Froogles Hangar. This is a brand new, very regular series on this channel. Let me talk through what Froogles Hangar is and why it came about first of all. What Froogles Hangar is a view behind the scenes into what I'm working on. So applications I'm looking at, aircraft I'm looking at, things I'm trying out, just to give you a little bit of a glimpse behind the scenes. The reason for that is that this channel has become really quite famous for doing very long form first impressions, reviews and tutorials. But those long form videos, rather than following, I guess, the norm and just installing something and putting it straight up in the air and making a video on it, they tend to take me a very long time. I spend a lot of time studying and practicing and trying things out and learning and researching, and as a result, when a new aircraft comes out, it can take me many months to get that first video up on the channel, which is why you won't often see, sometimes, but you won't often see brand new products on this channel kind of the day they're released. I'm not really into scooping stuff, I'm more into producing very high quality videos. The problem with that though, obviously, is it takes me a long time to get any videos up, and it also means I build up quite a backlog. So what you're looking at here is Just Flight Canberra, a phenomenal study level version of the very famous Canberra bomber, reconnaissance, military aircraft from the 60s and 70s. I've had this for quite a while. It is very intimidating. I don't know everything about it yet, but I am currently looking at it to get a video done. So the first episode of Froogles Hangar here is going to be looking at what I'm doing with the camera, just really trying stuff out. They are very, I guess the word is amateur. They're amateur videos. I don't know everything I'm doing. I'm normally learning stuff. This is the sort of thing that I would typically fire up a live stream for as kind of a practice or a test session, but also to talk you through some of the things that I'm getting up to. Now, also, this is running in prepared. I've not been running prepared a lot lately. I've had the dreaded R6025 error, which causes the sim to crash. So I recently wiped prepared from my machine, reinstalled it with pretty much nothing in it. As of this morning, I put Orbex's FTX Global in there and the camera, and that's about it. So looking at prepared, making sure that's still working fine, and I've also installed the brand new Rex Soft Clouds pack. So these clouds up here are actually Rex Soft Clouds. The idea of Rex Soft Clouds is they're volumetric 3D cloud textures. So not a rewrite of the cloud engine or the weather engine or anything like that. Really a texture replacement that adds on, I guess, to Rex 4 Texture Direct or whatever other texture pack you'll like. Anyway, let's go back to the aircraft. This, as we said, is the Just Flight Canberra. It is, I know Just Flight have done another study aircraft now in that the TriStar Professional is study level or approaching it. The Canberra here was really their first study level aircraft, and a bit of a departure for Just Flight. They have in the past kind of done a mix of deep aircraft and light aircraft. This is their first highly detailed one, which is again why it's taken so long to produce a video on it. Let me jump into the cockpit. This thing is crazy detailed. I'm going to run through some track IR views that I've set up. So there's my instrument panel. Very old school, very classic looking steam driven panel, lots of analog dials and gauges and things like that. It's actually pretty cool. These flashing things here are obviously light indicator lights. Many of them are also buttons, so you've got to learn the dual function of what the light means and what the button means, all that good stuff. Whizzing down here, there's my flaps control, speed brakes, gear and all that good stuff. Over here, power or fuel cocks, and then down here, anti-icing lights and so on. Nothing too untoward there. The issue though gets into this side of the panel. This aircraft has a very complex fuel management system, so it can carry quite a lot of fuel. It was a long-range aircraft, or is a long-range aircraft, and as you burn fuel you need to rebalance the fuel system. So that's, I guess, one of the most in-depth parts of this aircraft, is while you're flying, rebalancing the fuel system so the aircraft's not suddenly doing strange things. There's all the tank management there, like banking to the left when it shouldn't because there's a fuel imbalance. So trying to get to grips with that. Very complex avionics stack down there, which I don't know very much about, and so on, and so on, and so on. Very complex. Now, I did actually do a video with this. When I first looked at prepared version 2, it was actually in this aircraft, but I am nowhere near expert level in it. Anyway, let's take off. Let's go and look at these soft clouds and see what that's all about, and talk you through what I'm finding with the flight model here. Now, bear in mind, as I said, this is Froogles Hangar. This is not first impressions, it's not review. I don't know very much, I don't know enough to make one of those kind of videos, so there are probably going to be lots of mistakes. I'm probably going to do a lot of things very wrong. That's not really an invitation for the experts to put in a bunch of comments saying, Froogle, do this, do this, do this. Just letting you know. It's really just me discovering stuff as I learn the aircraft. So my flaps are down. Obviously gear are down. Spoilers are up. Let's increase the power here and we'll go for a little trip around John Wayne. And look at these soft clouds and look at the flight model and see how everything works. So increasing power. It is a very it is a very powerful aircraft. It will easily break civil aviation speed requirements, which is one of the, I guess, ongoing challenges with flying a military aircraft in a civil simulator like FSX or Prepared or X-Plane, is trying to keep it within the law. Anyway, here we go. We're approaching rotate speed. It automatically, well, not automatically, but it does tend to fly itself off the runway, which is kind of cool. Go flaps up and gear up. I know I should have done gear up first. Like I said, Froogles Hangar. So bringing back the power, we're at 150 knots. And this aircraft will climb like a freight train and pick up speed rapidly as it does so. Just trimming. There's a trim display down the bottom there, the bottom of the cockpit. I'll show it to you in more detail in a second. Shows you how the aircraft is trimmed, which is a kind of a neat feature. It flies really well. I've spent a little bit of time flying this. It really does fly well. It doesn't fly like it's on rails. Like I'm banking now, I am having to feed in rudder to properly coordinate the turn. And a lot of aircraft in FSX and Prepared don't get that right. This does. It's one of the things I like about A2A, in fact. So a little bit more rudder there. Trying to keep climbing. Watching my speed, watching my coordination. 1,600 feet. Let's head out to the north. Pick up some of these clouds. Oh, a bit more rudder now. It's a very hands-on aircraft. It's not at all in any way modern, which is pretty cool. I have to resist the urge to give opinions, I guess, in Froogles Hangar and tell you this is a phenomenal aircraft. It actually, though, is a phenomenal aircraft. I'm looking forward to getting to the point where I can do a very deep, long-form, fully loaded or first impressions on this. The dials are very smooth. The animations are very smooth. It sounds great. It performs well. It feels very majestic. Let's roll out here. Come off that rudder. There we go. And keep on climbing up. Notice my speed now. 210. My power levers are pretty much close to idle. And the speed continues to want to climb. Let's trim out a little bit so we're not climbing at crazy levels. Just want to get above these clouds and take a look at some of these clouds. They're going to be in the videos from now on, obviously. I thought that the soft cloud system from Rex was a full cloud replacement. It's really not. They are volumetric textures that obviously work best in Prepared, but also support FSX and both versions of FSX. Remember, we've got two versions now, the classic FSX and FSX Steam Edition. More on that in another video. There's clouds directly above us. One thing I am noticing is the clouds are not spinning. Any Prepared user will know from experience that the clouds tend to rotate, particularly if you're a Track IR user, and I'm using Track IR right now, that as you change your point of view, there's a little bit of spin on the clouds. You can see there's a layer of cloud which is kind of following my view, which is wrong, but that's a Prepared issue, not a Rex issue. And they're supposed to be very fluffy, 3D, volumetric cloud textures. I guess the thing to do would be to fly through one. Now this aircraft, I've got it trimmed out really well. Speed's dropping a little bit, so it puts a bit more power in. But once you have it configured and trimmed, it's really nice. I will confess I've never landed this aircraft though. I've tried a few times. I haven't wrecked it, but I've just kind of given up until I read more of the manual. It's very low to the ground. Requires quite a bit of precision to get it stabilized on the approach and bring it in for a landing. Okay, so we're going through a thin hazy cloud layer now. Okay, volumetric as you would expect. I would guess these clouds look a little bit more real. Oh, here we go. Actually, yes, they do look more real. Look at that. Rex soft clouds, I think it's $10. So So not a big investment. It does seem to make them a lot fluffier and a lot more realistic, which is good. Really, really good. Let's continue climbing here. Take it up to about 10,000 feet. We can look down on the clouds. They actually look very, very nice. I like those. Rex soft clouds. As I said at the start of the video, the scenery you're looking at is Orbex FTX Global. And that R6025 error I mentioned I've been getting, where this sim just aborts, it just crashes and you can't do anything with it. And I haven't got a solution for it. I know a lot of people have been suffering the same problem. A few people on the forums had indicated that it seemed to be related to Orbex FTX Global. I don't know that, but I did run prepared after this reinstall without FTX Global in, and it worked pretty well. So there's maybe some chance that that was the case. I am about to rebuild my PC though. I've just ordered a new motherboard and the 4790K Devil's Canyon processor, new memory. So I'm basically getting a new PC in about a week's time. At which point I will be putting everything on from scratch with Windows 8.1, which I've stayed very, very clear of. But I know a lot of you use it. A lot of you have asked me questions about it. I can't answer those questions since I don't use it, so I figured now is the time to go and install that as well and see how we get along. Alright, so just easing off the power here. Going to try and level off around about 95. Clouds look great. I like those. It's hard for me to discern the difference between these soft clouds and Rex 4 Texture Direct, other than to say they look, I guess, a lot more realistic than they used to. Oh, so much for 9500 as we climb on up to 10,000. Look at that. This aircraft just wants to get away. Oh, way beyond 10,000 now. Let's come off the power and try to retrim ourselves. Then I'll pop you outside and you can take a look at this thing in the air. Try to do a flyby or something. Oh, let me show you that trim display. It's down here. You see that? I'm trim slightly tail positive, elevator, sorry, positive. If I hold down the trim button, you can see it moves that needle and obviously changes the aircraft. Very cool stuff. Everything about this cockpit is really high quality. I guess perhaps except maybe the yoke animation, which could be a bit smoother. But I think maybe that's a sim configuration issue more than a Just Flight issue. Let's try to get stable here. We are dropping. There we are. This aircraft really does press every single button that Froogle would want it to press, which is study, deep, complex, challenging, beautiful to look at, good sound, amazing. Now let me see if I can get Easy Dock to put me back in. No, Easy Dock's not going to put me back in the cockpit, so we'll go up here and go, I guess that one. Is that the right view? Yes, that is the right view. Okay. Alright, let's head on back towards John Wayne. And live and on camera, I will screw up my landing once again. So we're going to bring the power all the way off. I'm going to put the spoilers out. Look at the wings here when I put the spoilers out. Or the air brake. Look. You see them extending? Nice animation there. They are very effective as well at bringing my speed down. You can see I'm descending 2,500 feet. The speed is dropping. Descending at 2,500 feet per minute, I should say. Speed is dropping very nicely. I think I've lost John Wayne. Like I said, not a fully loaded or first impressions. I'm really not pre-prepared to do these videos. But I do hope that over time you like these videos because of the length of time it takes me to do more traditional Froogle Sim content. This means that with this show and the two others that you've not seen yet, there are two other shows coming, you have regular content 3 times a week on the Froogles Sim channel, plus any first impressions, reviews and so on that I finish in time for that week. So big changes to the channel, which I hope make a lot of you happy. I know a number of you want me to be very much more regular with how I produce content. That looks like John Wayne over there. Maybe. We'll try and run a circuit. See how we get along. I think that's John Wayne. I could be horribly wrong, but it looks like it. It's in the right place. It lines up with that canyon up there. That's another issue. People ask me, question. People ask me all the time, why do you always fly out of the same place? Because I get to know the environment. It's the same as if you're flying for real out of a single airport all the time. You get to know the environment. So I know flying here at John Wayne, where Pilot Edge is based, or has a lot of stuff going on, that if I look north there to that little canyon, that is directly north of John Wayne, and if I lose my bearings, I can easily find my way home without having to figure out how to tune radios if it's a new aircraft and all that good stuff, which, as I said, this one is. I'm not fully competent on setting up the radios and everything in this yet, or the avionics stack. So we'll keep on turning. We'll take runway 19 right. It used to be 18 right. They reclassified it because of shifts over time in the magnetic compass. Speed is coming down nicely now. And this is where I normally mess up on this. I'm looking at the airport now. I'm looking at 3,200 feet and thinking, yeah, I can do that. Let's go and land. That won't work in this aircraft. You really need to prepare a lot better and really work on stabilizing the approach so you're not pitching up, pitching down too much, changing the power settings too much. I'm going to take this down to about 2,000. We'll fly a pattern there if I'm in the right place, which I really do think I am. So as our speed drops off there at 190, we'll keep on turning to the right. We'll coordinate the turn now properly. Bring it around to the south. Bring in the spoilers, or speed brake, air brake, call it what you will. That would be southish. Keep on descending gently down to about 2,000 and try to set up a pattern and see how we do. So just delicate trim there so we're not dropping like a stone. We're starting to climb a little bit. Just trim it once again. It's quite interesting as well. I have my head really at the top of the seat. I set up my EasyDock views to do that. So I have what would be a pretty realistic pilot's eye view of everything, and it's hard to see all the instruments. It's such a tall instrument panel there, dash. Such a tall dashboard. It's hard to see everything at once. Obviously, in the real aircraft, pilots are using peripheral vision a lot more than you can in a simulator. But I actually kind of like that. I like that I need to have my head moving around a lot to see what I'm doing. I'm going to head out to the east here, just coordinate once again. A little bit more than 30 degrees, that's not good. There we are, that'll do it. Now, as with many aircraft of the era, as the speed comes off, the aircraft does get a little wallowy. You need to be aware of that. Managing that. Alright, let's descend a bit more. So I'm going to put the spoilers out again. Just because the throttles are idle at this point, but my speed's not coming down. I've had a lot of problems managing the speed in this aircraft. It just doesn't want to be managed. Alright. Descending now to about 1,500 or less. Not less than 1,000, ideally. Watching my angle of bank, the aircraft does want to roll over. It feels very fluid and natural, having to really keep a close eye on what I'm doing with the controls. keep the aircraft exactly where I want it to be in terms of its flight attitude. Still not descending, you see that? Very hard to do everything, like coordinate the turn, climb, descend, or hold level, or whatever you're trying to do. And that's one of the areas that I typically spend a lot of time on before I do the in-depth reviews and fully loadeds and all that good stuff, is spend a lot of time just practicing basic maneuvers. So can I fly straight and level? Can I do a descending turn? Can I do a climbing turn? Can I do a level turn? Obviously at the moment I can't. Alright, bringing the power in now as we come up on 1500, so a bit more power just to level us. Bit of trim there as well. Airport's getting up for behind us. I'm going to let it go quite a way behind us. As I said, you need to spend a bit of time setting up your approach in this. Whoa. Started to balloon there. Just want to get this stable. Would like my speed down around 160 as well. Alright, it's looking a bit more stable. A little bit high, just over 1500 feet. Let's bring the power back again. Alright, so let's start a turn around. Let that speed drop off. Try to hold level or slight descent. So 30 degrees of bank. Pulling back on the yoke. It is a yoke aircraft. Unlike many military aircraft, it doesn't have a joystick. So I am flying with my Cytec yoke. Oh my goodness. Having a hard time coordinating. Now we're heading west. Keep on the turn. Speed has come down now, so spoilers can go up. We'll put the flaps out. We'll put the gear out. Get some drag behind the aircraft. Oh, ballooned up! A massive balloon. Where is my runway? There it is. Oh my goodness, look at that ballooning. See what I mean? I let the aircraft get away from me. Speed is way too low, 120. Lots more power. I'm going to try to hold it now about 140. Or even 135. Let's get descending. And this is no good for a landing. This is the problem that I continue to have. Nothing to do with the aircraft, all to do with Froogle. Normally these problems are ironed out before a video is made, but again, this is Froogles Hangar. Welcome. Happy New Year. Alright, so idle on the power. Let's get the nose down and do everything that we shouldn't do. No, you know what, this isn't going to happen, so you know what, gear up, flaps up, power up, and we'll go around. Thank you so much for watching this very first episode of Froogles Hangar. As I said, this is a regular on this channel now. You will be able to watch Froogles Hangar every single Thursday from this point forward. There are additional shows coming as well. I'm not going to tell you what they are, you'll find them out, but the next one is on Sunday, and the one after that is on Tuesday. So until next Thursday, or Sunday, or Tuesday, thank you so much for watching. As always, my name is Froogle. And I will see you all next time. Thanks again, guys.